on Wednesday when I told him, you're not supposed to put peanut butter on the back of your neck because that really doesn't work. So,
hi.
Hi.
Sorry, guys.
Hi, everyone.
You're already there. Good morning.
Hello, guys.
Morning, Yvonne.
Hi, Yvonne. Wim, doing better and better with his Indonesian.
Desiree mengkirimkan salam lagi dan mengizinkan saya pergi ke kelas sendirian. Okay, now
what's he saying?
Okay, Desiree sends her hellos to everybody and asks permission and asked permission that Wim is going to the class by himself, but Wim will listen.
Okay. Hi, Philip.
Hi, Philip.
Hello,
Good
Cindy,
morning.
everyone.
Jennifer, hi. Selamat sore, Ernst. Hi.
Katrin. Hey,
Katrin,
Salima.
hello. Hi, Salima.
Good to see you again, as usual. Hi, Lisa. Hello.
Hi, Lisa. So, how did your meeting go?
Yeah,
Hi, Axel.
I know it's afternoon in Jakarta. She's totally right.
Yep.
But for most Europeans who are watching, for them, it's usually their breakfast ritual, right?
Yes, and except for Philip and Dagmar.
For them, it's their going to bed ritual.
There's their sleep well ritual.
Yeah. They're about to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord! This is the 51st episode that we're doing.
Can you imagine, guys? Can you imagine 51 streams we have done?
Yes, and for those who might not know, in any case, if you're watching a rerun, maybe you're a new viewer. The reason that we started these streams is because of Corona, COVID-19, and we just had to find some way to stay in touch with our dear friends and guests every week. So
yep.
If you're new, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. And no, it's still impossible to say what's going to happen in the coming time. All we can do is hope that vaccinations will go faster rather than later. So.
Yeah. But it looks good in Europe. 14 holiday destinations have opened up.
Where?
All over Europe and the Caribbean and Malta and destinations like that. So that's a good sign. The thing is that we don't know yet what is going to happen with the Indonesian government.
Yeah.
We have the first international flight coming on the 28th of May. That is how it is scheduled. But when the border is not open, then we don't know what's going on. I have to say that there are ways of getting into the country right now because Lisa is Canadian actually, and she arrived last week in Jakarta and just finished her quarantine and is moving to Bali, I think tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow or day after tomorrow. When it's allowed to fly again, so probably day after tomorrow.
Right. And so, Lisa, can I ask you a favor? Can you please do something about the Western influencers in Bali that are spoiling it for so many people there? I don't know if I've read this article in The Guardian about Instagram influencers misbehaving on Bali to the frustration of the Bali people. So
unbelievable.
If you see anyone do that, you're welcome to do whatever. Yes. Right. So we have another class here with teacher Simone. Hi, Albert.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about ears. But before we do, please share the stream right now with all of your friends and get the word out. And without any further ado, would you like to introduce before we share the screen?
Yeah. Well, we did a couple of theoretical streams, and we talked about buoyancy, and we had some fun looking at some videos. We did decompression sickness and the background of dive computers, and it seems that most of you liked it quite a lot. And after last week's stream, I asked if anybody would be interested in learning a little bit more about ears. And the response was very positive. So this week's stream is about ears, and we had a very, very nice plan. Yeah, we really planned to make this like a perfect graphical, entertaining presentation. And believe it or not, 3 hours ago, the computer crashed. It burned.
Specifically, the laptop that I worked on, making all these animations. And I'm a very good boy. I make backups every morning. And you know, but I was making a couple of new animations of the hearing canal, and you know, the kind of trying to illustrate the problems that happen inside your ear. And then yeah, the laptop crashed, and I can't get it back on again. And yeah, so
we are a little bit frustrated.
To say the least, it's a little bit frustrating.
We're tired and a little bit frustrated. So bear with us. Don't be too harsh. Be nice to us.
I think we still have put together something okay, but
yeah,
we wished it
would have been a lot better. It was supposed to be a lot better, but anyway, we still hope you like it.
All right.
Okay, so without further ado, we're going to watch the presentation, and in case you have anything to ask or to comment, just do so. Our big commenters like Stephen is not there yet, Graham is not there yet, Paul is not there yet. Maybe you have nice weather or something. I don't know.
It's possible. So we are running now on only one screen, and that means we have to run the presentation full screen, so we cannot see your comments. But by all means, we will take a break somewhere in the middle, and Simone will happily answer any questions you might have. So let's dive into this.
Start.
Okay. Make it full screen. Yes, so I think everybody can see this.
Okay, I hope so, because we cannot see anything.
No, we can only see our presentation and not your comments, so bear with us.
Okay. Can you see us actually?
I think they can.
Oh, okay, then I will behave. Okay, so we're going to talk mostly about ears, but you have another, you have quite a number of holes in your head. Amongst your mouth, you also have your sinuses. This is not so much a sinuses talk, but the same thing that applies to ears also applies to sinuses. So in this presentation, we will discuss the anatomy of the ear, and we talk a little bit on how do you hear, and we talk a lot about what can go wrong with your ears, because as divers, our ears are very important. And in my case, yeah, I make my money with my ears, right? So
you're a good listener.
Also. So how do you hear? Yeah, we all know that our ears are mainly to hear, to listen actually. And how does that work? Well, here you see one of the nice graphics that Arjen made, and this is the ear anatomy. So here you see on the left side, you see the ear shell. Then there in the pink area, this is your ear canal. And the green area there represents your eardrum. Then you have your middle ear in the red area, and then the purple area and the yellow area in your inner ear. So you have actually 3 parts of the ear. So we're going to talk about every part separately. So, and talk about what can go wrong there.
Can I pause you right there? I just want to check to see if everybody can see everything fine. So far, nobody's commenting that they can't see anything. So yeah, so we can just continue.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. So let's have a look at the outer ear first. It's actually pretty simple. There's not much there. It's the ear canal and the eardrum. There's not much else there. But it's very essential for hearing. Sorry, because that is what I was supposed to explain. So when you listen to something, the sound waves, they enter your ear shell, they move through the ear canal towards the eardrum. And the eardrum is like the skin on a speaker. It vibrates with the sound. with the noise. And then this vibration is being transferred through these three little bones that you see on the top, the white area there. And then it's being moved to the purple area, and from there towards your brain, which is there, it's being processed. So that is actually what our ears are for. So if we look at the outer ear, we only have the ear canal and the eardrum. Now, for us as divers, when we go underwater, water enters our ear canal, and it stops at the eardrum. If it doesn't stop there, you are already in trouble, actually.
You have bubbles coming out of your ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what happens. And you know, everybody is a diver that is watching this stream. You know that when you are diving, then there can be a couple of things going wrong there. And first of all, what can go wrong is that you cannot equalize. We come back to that in a minute. But what I want to talk with you first is something that I experience here in the resort quite often. Because maybe you never thought that you could be too hygienic or too clean on your ears, did you? Mm-hmm. Now here you are supposed to see a very nice graphic which collapsed. So we cannot show you. So I need you to imagine what can happen. What will happen? As you know that we are here seaside, so when you are diving, then salt water enters your ear canal and pushes against your eardrum. When you can equalize, that is no problem at all. After the dive, you made a really nice dive, you come out of the water, you can get on the boat, and they give you a towel, you dry off a little bit, you drink your cup of tea, you chat with your friends, and you're simply waiting for the next dive to happen. That can take an hour, maybe a little bit more. And then after the second dive, the same things happens. And then maybe after the diving, you drive back with the boat and you chat with your friends, or you have a cup of coffee first, and then finally you go to your room to take a shower. All good, all good. But what happens in the meantime? The salt water that entered your ear canal is drying up. It evaporates or it just dries up. And because it's salt water, the salt crystals that were in the seawater stay behind in your ear canal. So normally spoken, you can handle that because there is this greasy brown substance in your ear, and you think that is dirty, that is not supposed to be there. So what a lot of people do is they clean it out with a Q-tip, and dirty brown looks not so appetizing, right? But actually, this is to protect your ear canal. So when this salt water dries up, these salt crystals, they don't touch the very tender wall of your ear canal. They just stick to the fatty grease that is in your ear, and that is what the function is of that stuff. Yeah, it needs to be there to protect your very sensitive ear canal. So if you clean too much, then there is no protection anymore. And it has two different effects. First of all, your body will produce even more of that stuff because your body feels that it should be there. Only you think differently than your body. And another thing is that salt crystals that happen after the salt water is drying up are not sticking to that brown grease, but is sticking to your ear canal. Now, on itself, that is not a problem, but it itches. It really, really itches. So, what do you do when you have an itch, right? You
Scratch it.
you scratch it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you move your ear or you put your finger inside, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. And what you do by doing that is these salt crystals, and you know a crystal is quite sharp. These salt crystals, they make very, very tiny lacerations in your ear canal. And the tropics are the tropics. Every small wound is an invitation for bacteria to enter this small laceration. And before you know it, you have an infection. And that is really not a nice thing.
No, I can attest to that.
Not.
I had that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I had an ear infection.
It happens to many, many divers. Mm-hmm. Actually, I don't have it very often because I know how to avoid it. But every now and then, if I don't pay attention, it happens. Now, if you have a problem like this, an ear infection, it has nothing to do with equalizing. You might be able to equalize just as easy. So you don't have to worry about that. But it is quite painful, actually. So how do you know what kind of ear problem you have? Now, the simple thing to do that is just take your ear, the outer part of your ear, and just pull it. Pull your ear. And when that hurts, you have an outer ear infection. If you are in an early stage, if you find out in an early stage, then you do the following things. You rinse out your ears with lukewarm water very thoroughly. Okay. So all the salt crystals are out. Then you can use some eardrops, and you have here the local brand is Autopain, but any eardrop will work. These are not the eardrops you put in your ears as a precaution. These are eardrops that help against the pain a little bit, and there is a little bit of antibiotic in it. And then you take some ibuprofen, which is infection-resisting tablet, and you do that for 1 or 2 days and see if it gets better. Very often it does. If you are too late by finding out, then you might need to have an antibiotic treatment.
Wow.
Yeah. So some people have it pretty bad, and then the whole outer ear is swollen.
I had that.
And it's almost closed.
Yeah.
And it's very painful.
And you know, when an ear infection started, in my case, because I can only speak from my experience, but initially I ignored it because it's like, oh yeah, my ear, it doesn't hurt, but it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, it'll probably pass.
Yes.
But that's a sign that you should really watch out for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you start immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. But better still is to avoid it. Now, how do you avoid it? Like I said just now, it's being caused by salt crystals entering your ear or staying inside your ear and damaging your ear canal. So how to avoid it? First of all, don't be too clean. Yeah, this brown grease needs to be there. And the more you take it away, the more your body will make, and until it's really big and a lot, and then you have to go to the doctor to take it out. The body usually just makes enough to protect, and you are the one that disturbs that. So that's number one. Second one, every dive you come out of the water, especially salt water, you rinse your ears with fresh water. Yeah. And when I teach the kids for snorkeling and we go out, or for diving and we go out, then at the end of the pier there is a hose with fresh water, and I put it on my ear and said, "Oh, no, he's not there." No. Oh, it's for you.
Hello.
Hello. So I'm just making a joke with them that they have to wash their ears because they want to become dive guides, and a dive guide with ear infections is not working. Literally, it's not working.
It doesn't work at all.
It doesn't work at all. So you wash out your ears, and it doesn't matter. You can put a hose on your ear. Your brain will not flood, I promise, right? So both sides, and all the salt crystals are gone. And when the salt crystals are out, you're not having this itchy feeling, so you don't scratch.
Yep.
And that is how you avoid the most common problem with the diving holidays in the tropics. Okay? So I hope everybody understands that. And shall we see if there's any questions or comments?
Let's take a look. Okay, let's see. Selima. Wow, she says, when you get to questions, sorry if it's a stupid one. I was wondering if you could explain the best way to explain to a dive client saying, I have water in my ear. As they don't really, because it stops at the eardrum unless it's burst. When in reality, it's internal via the sinuses, and it just feels like there's water in there and will disappear a while later through the throat, etc.
Okay, Selima, this is part of the next part of the presentation. So
okay,
I think I immediately will answer your
You can
question.
cover that there. I will just turn that off quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So we continue, and I will answer your question as we go, Selima.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. Full screen it.
Okay. So let's have a little bit of a look at the middle ear. The middle ear is supposed to be dry, right? It is. It's the border is the eardrum that keeps the water out, and you see on top there the white area. These are the ossicles, 3 very small bones, hammer. Hoe is je aanbeeld in English?
Anvil.
Oh yeah, anvil and stijgbeugel.
A stir.
Oh, stir from a horse, like that.
A stirrup.
Yeah. A stirrup. Yeah.
Your phone keeps ringing. I'll put it outside. Is that okay?
Yeah, but we are on this internet, or we are on yours.
Where am I?
Oh, okay. Or you pick it up. Okay. So behind the stirrup, you will find the oval window. I'll come back to that later. The oval window actually transfers the sound towards the inner ear. And then this is the oval window. And then we have the round window. And the round window is like a membrane, a little bit similar as the eardrum. It's the membrane between the inner ear and the middle ear. And it works like a pressure valve. So when the eardrum moves inside a little bit, then the pressure increases, and then the round window bulges a little bit inwards. And the same thing when there is a sound vibration, then the round window will bulge outwards a little bit. And then everybody is familiar, probably from the open water course, we will have the eustachian tube. And the eustachian tube connects the middle ear with our nose and mouth area. So what kind of problems can we encounter with the middle ear? Now, one of the most common problems is, of course, if you cannot equalize. Now, what is causing not being able to equalize? Now, if you look at the picture here, then the orange area on the left-hand side, and that is your mouth and nose cavity. And the red line is the eustachian tube. And then you see the middle ear and the inner ear there and the eardrum. So you see also that in the top picture that the 2 red lines, they have an area where they get together a little bit. It's getting narrower. And this is to avoid that some mucus, or maybe you don't eat properly or drink properly and you choke on something, that something goes into your middle ear and it can cause an infection there. So that is to protect your body, to protect your ear. Another problem could be that this eustachian tube is filled with mucus. For instance, if you have a cold, then this cold will form mucus on the walls of the eustachian tube and will close it, actually. Now, when we equalize, we push actually air from the mouth nose cavity through the eustachian tube into the middle ear. And if we do that, then the eardrum stays nice and straight, so it doesn't bend inwards. And that is what we actually want. Now, there are different ways to equalize. If we, for instance, it's the Valsalva maneuver. Everybody knows that one, because you just pinch your nose and you blow against your blocked nose. And then the Frenzel maneuver, that is not not everybody knows that one. Yes. I will explain in a minute. And then other than that is just making funny faces like swallowing and moving your jaw. And if you know all these 4 methods, then it can save your diving holiday. I will also give you a little tip of if it's really not working. But let's have a look at the different ways to equalize first. For the ones that look at our stream regularly, this was the giant stride descent, which we discussed during the buoyancy presentation. And so when you're going down, you don't want to go too fast. So you make this nice giant stride position. But while going down, you have to equalize. Yeah, Valsalva maneuver, and then stop your descent by pulling your fins together. Yeah, so that's the Valsalva maneuver. And then the Frenzel maneuver, that one is being used by freedivers.
Okay.
Yeah, they block their nose. That's the big black dot there that you see. They put a nose clamp on their nose. And instead of pushing air from their lungs towards their nasal cavity, they actually move the air that is in their mouth into their nasal cavity. So if you have never seen that, it looks a little bit like this. Can you maybe put me on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
everyone's going to take a very close look at Simone's throat now.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Look at my throat, huh? So I'm actually pushing the air towards my middle ear, and by moving my tongue to the top of my mouth and putting pressure on on my throat. So that is the Frenzel maneuver, and that is how freedivers go down, because they want to preserve all the air that they have. They want to preserve that in their lungs, and because to avoid a lung squeeze. So they use that kind of system, and you can try it. And some people do that automatically. They don't even have to pinch their nose.
Hi, Axel. Selamat pagi. Just a quick one. He says, my mom does that to me when I'm not listening to her, and that also hurts.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, I recognize that.
Interesting form of punishment.
Yes.
You probably deserved it, Axel.
Yeah, I think so. Being
just
knuckle.
kidding.
Just knuckle.
So yeah, shall we go back to the presentation?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
And we'll go back in full screen.
Yeah. So yeah, so here you see both ways, the Valsalva and the Frenzel maneuver. You see them both on the picture. So in one, the epiglottis that connects your lungs to your mouth nose cavity is open, and in the other system it's closed. Yeah, so that is how it works. Yeah, you have to really practice that. It's not. It's for a lot of people it doesn't come naturally.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is the problem with equalizing. And we started this presentation talking about um, your ears and other holes in your head, right? And I said, well, you don't only have your ears and your mouth, of course, but you also have your sinuses. And your sinuses, they are built much like your middle ear. So it's a small cavity inside a bone structure, and the walls of that cavity are are yeah, how do you say that, covered with a very sensitive layer of tissue, much like the inside of your cheek. It's very soft, right? So what happens when you cannot equalize, when it doesn't go easy? You force yourself a little bit, you go up a little bit, you push a little bit harder, and finally it happens and you can go down. So you make your dive, and then all at a sudden, when you come up to the surface, and you have a little bit of blood in your mask. When that happens to my students or my guests, and the guide says, "Oh, you have to clean your mask a little bit because, oh, it's blood." People are like, "Wow, I don't want to deal with blood. Blood means something is seriously wrong." And of course, yes, there is something wrong, but it's not that serious. What actually happened, and this is also for Salima, what happens is that both in the sinuses and in the middle ear, because of the relative vacuum, because you are late with equalizing or late with, or you have difficulties getting enough air in there is a vacuum happening in those cavities, in both the sinuses and in the middle ear. And when it happens in the sinuses, then blood and the very tiny blood vessels, the capillaries, and a little bit of yellowish fluid is being withdrawn from that very soft tissue. It's like a hickey, like a zuigsel, right? If you do that, you also pull the blood towards your skin. And in this case, the capillaries actually break, and a little bit of blood and moisture collect themselves in the sinuses and runs out through the nose inside the blood. And for the full ear, this is actually a similar example. When people come out of the water and they go on the boat and they are doing like this, I had water in my ear. And they try to shake it out. But remember the first picture of the ear. Yeah, the water in your ear canal will disappear immediately. So you don't have water on the outside of your ear. But you do have moisture on the inside, in the middle ear. There you have some moisture. And that moisture happens because of the similar effect that we had with the blood in the mask. Moisture, a little bit of blood, but you cannot see that because it's inside. A little bit of blood collects itself and behind the eardrum, and it feels like there is water in the ear.
And it's only a very tiny
And
bit.
it's really, but your eardrum is also a very, very tiny eardrum. So there's a little bit of water. But it's annoying because it makes you feel a little bit deaf, and there is water in it and you want to shake it out, but it doesn't work like that. That water or that fluid needs to go out through the eustachian tube. So the only way to deal with it is swallowing. Swallowing helps, equalizing helps, because by equalizing, you open the eustachian tube and the moisture can go through your throat and you just swallow it and it's gone. So you don't even know that there is a little bit of blood and fluid behind your eardrum. But it's more or less the same as you see here on the picture. Yeah, it's the same system. So there is a relative under pressure, a relative vacuum inside the sinus or inside the middle ear. And yeah, that is very annoying. How to avoid it? Descend very, 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 very slowly. Give your body airspace, the time to take enough air inside, so there's no vacuum. Yeah, remember the way to descend. So don't dive with too much weight, and don't descend too fast. Yeah, just do that. Then there are also a couple of things that you should not do. If you have difficulties equalizing, don't take medicine like this, what is this mental stuff, or Otrifin, or Fix, or all this kind of stuff. Don't do it. Definitely not just before a dive, because what happens if there's a little bit mucus in your eustachian tube, and you take that, oh, you can breathe and you can equalize. Oh, great, because the mucus says, ooh, Fix, ooh, mental, and it withdraws. But what happens next is done during your dive, and you dive an hour. This stuff doesn't work anymore, and the mucus gets back in place and blocks the whole thing again. And then you have a real serious problem, because if you have a buildup of pressure in your middle ear and in your sinuses, and the pressure cannot go out on an ascent, yeah, we call that a reversed block. There's air trapped into these air spaces, and that can be extremely painful. So don't do that. It's also very difficult to go up again. So what you should do is you go down, start equalizing, start to keep everything open, and then ascend very, very, very slowly. And yeah, stay at depth. And when you feel pain, go down a meter, stay there, breathe, equalize, swallow, whatever you want to do.
Keep everything
just
moving.
Keep it moving,
yeah.
And then slowly, slowly you work yourself to the surface. So don't use that stuff. If, like us, we are diving for our job, it's also fun, but we're diving for our job, and sometimes we don't have really very many choices. We have to go down. And we're also people, so we also get cold. So then there's two things that you could try if you have really hardcore problems with equalizing. First of all, take off your mask. It's good practice as well. Take off your mask, put it back on, and equalize it.
Clear it.
Clear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clear your mask. And then try again. Try to equalize. And very often this works. I use that trick with the kids from my school. Very often it works. Not always, but very often it works. If you are a diehard and you want to use a little bit of elephant treatment, what you can do is at the surface, take a handful of seawater and sniff it. I remember when I was doing instructor courses in the Netherlands in autumn or in winter, and we had to go down in these really, really cold freshwater lakes, and I couldn't equalize, and it's an IDC, and I have to go down. So what I did, I had a small gem jar full with water with salt solution, and I used that to go down. It's not pleasant, I can tell you.
It stings.
It stings like hell, but
yeah.
it does work. It does work, and it's safer, much safer than all this
Because it's
other
natural.
stuff. Because it's natural,
Yeah.
And you have your mucus is also salty, so
Yeah.
you just rinse out your holes. Wow. Yeah, well, that's what it is.
There's a quote.
There's a quote. Okay, now before I continue with the inner ear, maybe there is some smart remarks.
Let's take a look.
Okay, not so many, only Salima.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope it helps.
If Yvonne says herkenbaar, which means recognizable.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Okay.
Okay, let's keep the show rolling.
Yep.
No, whoops. And back to full screen.
All right, so have a look at the inner ear. Yeah. So we start with this little stirrup, and behind that was the oval window. And then you see three main parts, actually. On the top, you see the vestibular canals. The vestibular canals, they hold your balance system. I will tell you a little bit more in a minute. Then we have the cloaca. The cloaca is like your speaker, actually, if you want. And then the yellow part here, that is your auditory nerve. Now, let's have a look at one by one. First, the vestibular canals. These are three small bones, and they are three-dimensional. And these three bones are hollow, and on their walls, they have very, very tiny hairs, call it hairs, but they're much, much thinner than hairs. And this whole purple area is filled with fluid. So what happens is when you move, this fluid is also moving. Yeah, it moves from one side to the other. And that fluid makes these hairs, I call it hairs. They probably have a very scientific name, but imagine just that they are hairs. And they make those hairs move. And you see that there is another yellow line on top of the big one, and that is your balance nerve. So these hairs, they are connected to this balance nerve. So when the hairs move, the signal is being given to the brain, and the brain compensates or makes your muscles move to compensate for a change of movement. If that would not happen, you could not walk, you could not stand, you would fall over all the time. So your vestibular canals are really, really, really important. And we have to be really careful with them. I come back to that in a minute. And then I said the cochlea, this collects the vibrations of the sound, it translates that, and it sends them to the brain, and the brain makes that into something that we understand.
It's amazing, right? Amazing engineering.
Yeah, you cannot imagine how this works in the evolution. I mean, it's amazing. And that goes to the auditory nerve. So this is, then don't forget that the purple dot, that was the round window, very important, because when it bulges inside, the pressure pushes the fluid inside, and all the fluid in the whole purple area is actually moving, including your balance system. So when you have very, very loud noise, it can also affect your balance system. Okay? So what can go wrong? It's all inside, and it's all filled with fluid. But if you would equalize very, very, very strongly, because you can't equalize it, it's blocked, and then you push and you push and you do it very forcefully, and all at a sudden this eustachian tube opens up immediately, and all this pressure that you put with this valsalva maneuver is being pushed into your middle ear, pushes on the round window, and the round window bursts.
Oy.
This is a very, very serious accident, because what happens next is that the fluid that is in the purple area is running out of there, which means that it immediately affects your balance system and your hearing system. And it is a contraindication for diving. So if that ever happens to you, you finish diving and you might have permanent damage there. So be really, really careful and gentle with yourself if you equalize your ears. And if it doesn't work, guys, it doesn't work. Next time.
Yeah, you can always dive another day.
Dive another day, yeah? Your ears are absolutely far more important.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, I'm going up and down a little bit. Talking about seasickness. Quite a lot of people, don't you like that picture? I really like that picture. This is a very green person. He's feeling seasick. So how is seasickness? Seasickness is caused by usually the balance system that doesn't work properly or equally between the two ears. Another reason could be that the fluid that is inside is quite thick and it takes a long time for the body to adjust with the movement. And that is why you say that, well, if people seasick, go to a place where it doesn't move that much and look at something steady to keep the nausea away. Right?
Just look at the horizon or something.
Look at the horizon, but find the middle of the boat, both in the length and the width, and sit there. So there you have the most quiet place on the boat if you suffer from seasickness. Other things is to find a way to make this fluid a little bit a little bit thinner, and it seems that ginger really helps. And it's natural, you don't have to take medicine. Ginger tea, ginger coffee, ginger candies, whatever ginger I hope you like ginger.
Or just ginger.
Or just ginger. I love ginger, but not everybody does. But it seems to help against seasickness, so you can try that. And then a third one is when you feel dizzy upon an ascent. Now, we call it with a nice word vertigo, but vertigo just means dizziness. And there can be a lot of reasons to be dizzy. You can have too much to drink. You can also feel dizzy. But a lot of people feel that once they decide to go up and the pressure is getting less, that they feel a little bit like, whoa, I didn't drink, but it feels like it. Okay, so they're dizzy. Now, the first thing, don't continue going up. Yeah, just stay there or go down a little bit, and you will see immediately that feeling disappears. Because the reason that it happens is that normally your ears are releasing pressure upon ascent by itself. You don't have to do anything for that. It goes out by itself. But sometimes one ear releases the pressure faster than the other one. And what happens then is that there is a pressure unbalance between the two ears pushing on the balance bones, on the vestibular canals. And both parts of those nerves, they give different information to the brain. And that makes you feel really dizzy. Your brain doesn't really know what to do with that. Should I go right, go wrong?
Mixed signals.
Mixed signals. So that is what happens when you feel dizzy upon an ascent. So don't do that. Don't go up. Go down a little bit. Try to equalize. That sometimes helps as well. And then come up slowly, slowly. That is how you deal with it. And that was the inner ear. And there's I don't think there's a lot of other things that can go wrong there. So this was the presentation about ears, and if you have any remarks or questions, or you didn't understand some of what I said, then please drop a message now in the chat, and I will be happy to look if I can answer it.
All right, perfect. Nice. So, no, not, I hope
Wow,
people are awake.
everybody's still awake.
I certainly think that was very interesting, and it's an amazing piece of hardware. The ears, the whole system, it's responsible for so many different functions, and not just hearing. And to me, the vestibular tubes reminds me like of a gyroscope.
Yeah,
it functions like a gyroscope.
And
make sure that you don't fall over with every step you take. Lisa says she never knew that about the salt crystals, but good to know. So,
yeah, it's a very common problem, Lisa.
There you know. There you go. Hi, Jenny. And she wants to know what causes equalization problems by going up.
Jen, that can be different reasons. And one of the worst reasons could be if you actually use this mental stuff. And the blockage in the eustachian tube came back in place. And that, because equalizing just means making the pressure equal to the surrounding pressure. So if you say equalizing problems by going up, this is actually a reverse block, right? So another thing, in very extreme cases, if people panic, then there can be a constriction of everything that's from stress, and everything closes down. That can be quite dangerous because it can happen to the lungs as well, and that can be a reason, but it doesn't happen very often actually. So most of it is a reverse block, and it just happens when there is mucus or something else blocking the canals that connect your sinuses to your mouth-nose cavity or your eustachian tube.
All right. And Josine thinks it's interesting. Thank you. And Albert says, we loved hearing about the earring.
Earring? Right? Hearing about the earring. I don't have earring.
So yeah, you can't hear about the earring because there are no earrings to hear anything about.
No.
So.
Oh, ear ringing. Ear ringing?
No. Albert. I kind of understand Albert's sense of humor a little bit. So. Thanks for ginger. When nauseous, I will bring it with me next time. Definitely, just keep a root in your pocket. Just chew on a root.
Oh yes, I love ginger.
Yeah.
It's no problem at all.
Axel says, "Jelas sekali." Please translate for our.
Thank you very much, Axel. He says it's very clear explanation. Thank you, and I appreciate that more because Axel is also an instructor. So really.
Oh, I didn't know that about Axel.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's not very active at the moment.
Obviously. Thanks for the info. Thank you, Jürgen.
And Huub, thank you very much. Yeah. Another instructor.
And the Canadians, I think they're about to go under the blankets. It's bedtime.
Sleep well, guys, and thank you very much for the compliment.
As always, thanks for joining us. And rinsing really works.
Yes,
it's very true. Because when I had my ear infection, I made a lot of dives in Lembeh, and the water in the Lembeh Strait is not the cleanest.
Oh yeah, there you have to be really super careful. Yeah, that is not clean water.
And after every time since then, when I had a little syringe with me with fresh water and just
because there it's not only the salt crystals, you get the bacteria as a bonus.
Other things. In there, you don't want that in your ears.
No.
And Yvonne has learned a lot again. Thanks a lot also from Nico. Thank you, guys. And Josine says, always take sour eardrops if we go diving in the tropics, just in case the rinsing with water doesn't work.
Yeah.
You seem to be two-sided about it?
Well, sour eardrops, I don't really understand why it should be sour, to be very honest. Yeah. Does sour kill bacteria? I'm not sure. Does sour disintegrate salt crystals? For sure not. So a lot of people do so, you see. But to be very honest, it's a combination of sour and oil. Usually, it's sour oil. And as far as I can trace back, it actually replaces this brown stuff that is in your ear canal. So if you leave that in place, you don't need it.
Just rinse out.
Yep.
That's probably the best thing you could do then.
Yeah.
And Albert won't let it go. Horen over de oren.
Yeah, we could have called it like that.
Horen over de oren. It's Dutch, guys, and it means hearing about the ears.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thanks for the title suggestion. So keep it in mind for the next presentation. Maybe we can, when we make another presentation, we send it over to Albert.
Yeah, and
he can proofread it and he give us suggestions.
Yeah, you can find the title, Albert.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Josine says, I remember that you had the ear infection when you were in Limburg. Ah, yes, that's true. You guys were there. Yeah. Yep. And I had to fight from poking my finger in my ear. I really had to resist that.
Yeah. Don't do that.
And and then every time I couldn't really hear, I just pull up my ear shell and then, and now it opens up again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So just one small thing extra. Yeah, there's 2 different ear infections that you can get. One is the outer ear infection that I just mentioned. That's with the salt crystals. But the other one is a middle ear infection. And a middle ear infection happens when you get bacteria inside your middle ear. This could happen because you equalize and you have dirty water in your mouth, for instance, with bacteria inside, and you blow it inside. And some people are very prone to that kind of infections. That kind of infection, you don't need eardrops because it doesn't really help. Yeah, your eardrops are from the outside. You rather want to use nose drops because nose drops go into your middle ear. You don't want to use eardrops. Yeah, and it's nasty if you have a middle ear infection, and most of the time you will need some antibiotics. And you have to probably go to a doctor for that.
Wim has a different subject. He let me translate it quickly. He said, I enjoyed the lesson. I would like to hear something. Is there any news about a new dog?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Hopefully it will arrive Tuesday.
Okay.
And officially I ordered actually 2 dogs, but after close deliberation with myself, I thought that might be a little bit over the top for me at this stage in my life. So I'm going to train this one first. So it's a sweet dog that listens and doesn't take the food from your table.
That would be nice.
And so I will have the German Shepherd first and start training. And I will introduce her next Saturday.
It's a her.
It's a her. It's a she.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Can't wait.
And she's 5 months old.
Awesome. Puppy!
Yeah.
One more question from Jürgen. Can ear candles be helpful when used before diving?
Yeah, these ear candles. What ear candles do is they suck out the grease, the
earwax.
The earwax from your ear, because they light up the top of it, and because of the suction that happens, because the fire takes out all the air from the bottom of the thing, and so you get a little bit of a suction there, and it takes this earwax out of your outer ear. So to me, don't touch it. Don't do it. Don't fill around with your ears. Your body can do that for you, and the more natural it is, the safer you are.
I completely agree. It's a very well built system, and there's a reason that your body works the way it does. about the new dog, as long as it leaves flip-flops alone.
I can't guarantee that. For the ones that didn't know that, Nolan had the habit of stealing flip-flops, especially mine. And every time he was upset because he couldn't come with me, he took my flip-flops and he completely destroyed it. And that I ended up having to buy 2 or 3 pairs a week. And because he always took the same one, always the left one, so I couldn't even make a pair out of it. By getting older, he was still stealing them, but he didn't break them anymore. So
very clever. We got some godly light happening here.
Yeah.
And the new dog. Yeah. Lisa, congrats on the dog, on the doggo.
Doggo.
And Albert's wondering if it has a name.
No, not yet, Albert, because, well, first of all, it is a pedigree. It has papers, or she has papers, and I don't know which name is on those papers. And if I like it, I will keep it. And if not, I have to look at her face first, and then I will know the name. So,
well, everyone, if you have a suggestion for Simone's dog's new name, please post them in the comments.
And it's not Nola. No, Nola.
No, I have a great suggestion. Princess Leia, done. I jest. Anyway, I think we are about to end this.
Yep.
Right?
Actually, another stream.
Another stream. On to the next one. Just
I will do that. I will do that. And since I only have clever dogs, it will probably answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Wolf. Albert, I hope you mean Princess Leia, because I agree. Anyway, that's it for me.
Yes, guys, and for me too.
All
and
right.
I hope you guys have a very great weekend. Well, the same as every week. We're still having no guest and a hard time. So
yep.
Spread the news, spread the words, and see if you can help us in any way, because lots of you have already helped us. So we don't want to ask you again, but maybe you have other people that can help us stay alive.
Let me just quickly put this up once again. In case you don't know, you see the website below. Please do share it with everyone you know. It's and every little bit helps. And once again, for everyone who donated, once again, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of difference.
Thank you, Ernst.
Thanks,
have a
Ernst.
nice weekend. And Golfse.
Yes. All right, guys, we're signing off. Thanks a lot once again, and we'll see you all next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.